Hey.
I'm Chris.
So,
and
yeah,
Paul.
Nice
to meet you.
So come on here. This is your
That's
screen.
me.
And let's get, who's gonna raise that? So there's some people here. I have no idea what's gonna happen. So. One second.
Oh, there we go. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the.
And so I'll be off screen, but you guys can ask me questions because we want to make this about
Yep.
you guys. Great. This is a little bit less high tech than last time.
It's still pretty impressive.
And do you want to? Okay, we should be on air, and then I'm just going to pass through something.
Do we know, like, how do we get the questions?
They're gonna chat them in.
Oh, okay.
And then and I can show you them. So if you guys want to kind of be there together, then you can decide how to solve. So this is what the students are seeing.
Okay.
So it's about 30-second lag.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense? That's
That
totally,
does make
and that
sense.
gives us time to answer the questions.
Yeah.
And then they will hear what I'm saying to you right now in about 30 seconds.
Okay. Hey, how are you guys? My name's Chris, Hi, everyone. My name is Peng. I'm a first-year student here at Ross.
And we'll be here today to help you with some of the questions you have.
Yeah. So ask questions.
Please.
Speaker. I'm guessing talk. Do you want to tell them about your background or what's like at the university or anything?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, I can start. So I'm from Shanghai, China. Before Ross, I did automotive electronics development for about 9 years. I started as a software engineer, and then moved to product management. And my last job was to develop car keys for the automotive, like car makers. So actually, Coursera, this course I took it already before I came to Ross. So I really like Professor Call. So now I'm in the fast track finance program, also taught by Professor Call. I'm really happy I can be here today.
The first question we got was why use IRR if we have to go back and check with NPV anyway? And that's a good question. That's certainly one I wondered about when I was working on the material. Basically, they're different. There are two different methods. And I think Professor Call really hammers home a lot of the benefits of NPV in the course. And discusses a lot of the criticisms of all the methods he brings up. That includes payback as well. But the point is that we need to know how to use these different methods because you'll see them in industry. You'll see them if you're ever working in finance, and you'll hear them talked about. So you have to know what's going on. So yeah, while I mean, I personally I buy into Professor Call's explanation of NPV being the superior method 100%. I really like NPV. I think doing a lot of the analysis with it is pretty interesting.
Right.
It really makes you dig through problems in a way that I think IRR doesn't so much, but it's good to know how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, because like in my in my previous company, we actually, when we calculate the product, whether we want to do the product, we actually first calculate the IRR. So it's kind of give us a feeling that really like, okay, to run this product. So if somehow the management feels the IRR is good, then we will continue and calculate all the like NPV and payback period, and then they will just conclude with that.
So right here, in similar way, you said, why would the industry use IRR rather than NPV?
Yeah.
I think you were saying similar. You could just.
Yeah, I can continue that. I think the thing is really IRR is kind of the standard from like the old times when I think when companies started to investigate how to run a new product, they started with the IRR. But later, I think, for example, in my old company, the financial system at the very beginning, they didn't really support to calculate NPV because the NPV calculation was kind of tricky for like people to actually use in the past. But when technology improved and then we actually switched our system, we updated our financial system, and then the system can actually not only calculate the IRR, but also like automatically calculate the NPV, and then payback period and dynamic payback period, all that like parameters, it can just run and then give us all the results. So I think it's kind of like a history thing, not really like, I think every company should switch to NPV because it's really like a better measurement, but then it's reality, not all the company can just dump their software and buy a new software to do that.
Yeah. I think conceptually within the material that the course is covering, IRR and the fact that IRR is the rate at which NPV equals 0, to me helped illustrate that projects become more or less attractive with differences in interest rates, and that there are actually points at which you wouldn't want to do something or you would want to do a project. And I think thinking about that aspect of IRR illustrated that aspect of NPV very well for me. That's that's one way I've thought about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I have a number of wrong answers before I answer numbers in complete number format.
Yeah. Cool. Good point. I'm sorry.
Great.
So
that's kind of a technical problem.
Yeah. You can say like, I'm in the screen. Maybe if you just want to say happy for any other questions or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or questions about specific problems or life or anything.
Are we on mute right now? Oh yeah. Any other questions? Anything anyone want to throw into the Hangout?
Okay. I'm gonna go on mute for a second.
Yeah.
So this is user 72299.
Okay, so this is an answer for user 72299. We are asking about questions 7, 8, and 9 in assignment 4. Should we just go through?
Just quickly say that that if you answered your like that, it would be correct. So it's not a rounding error, but maybe they did the math wrong.
Yeah, wait, I'm not sure I understand. Oh yeah.
So they should have answered in complete number
So
format.
the unit actually is like dollar,
same,
not
yeah.
maybe in dollars. So,
But it's
But they want to.
we'll just say that.
We think that for these questions, if you answer in just complete number format, leave any letters, units, signs such as dollar signs out of the answer, and additionally round to a whole number where instructed, it may be an issue of that.
We'd be happy to go through one of them.
We would be happy to go through one of them if that would be helpful. Yeah, we got a question about whether or not there are follow-up MOOCs to intro to finance. I know that Professor Call is working on one at the moment. It's not quite ready for release yet, but there are other courses out there. Another question was about why can't all the assignments have multiple choice answers? And that's definitely, I can sympathize with you there. Sometimes it's helpful to see an answer to have an idea if you're in the right ballpark, but really part of the purposes of the course is to develop the technical skills to the point where you don't need that ballpark and you don't need to narrow down answers, but that you can actually get within a certain range on your own. And so we think that the whole number answers are actually they stretch you in certain ways.
Yeah, I think definitely for like multiple choices, you basically have a choice. Like you can actually like try to eliminate first, and then you basically do a calculation and then match that. But for this kind of like the number you have to put in is really like a calculation result that you understood from the very beginning to the end. Then you can actually have the number.
Yeah,
it's I think eliminate the luck feature, like the luck feature of the problem.
yeah.
You cannot really just go and then try to guess. Yeah.
I think you know, if you have 4 numbers proposed to you on screen, you can create a lot of bad habits in trying to get to one of those numbers. Keep in mind, you still don't know which one's the right one. But when the course leaves you with nothing to go on, there's a lot of exercise in your mind that I think takes place to kind of get to that end number. And I think that's a pretty helpful process for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think the only thing I will complain is really like there are like certain steps that you have to take to get the answer, but then you get only the final answer. If you get the last step wrong, then it will be considered wrong. So, but then I think the technology now really only allow us to do this kind of like answer. So yeah,
cool.
And maybe if you want to talk to him, his name's Boston, or
Yeah.
whoever it. Well, you should also probably mention like what answers you're doing and tell him to check out the video solution site, because that's part of what he wants. He just wants to know what part of it was wrong.
Is he 7229?
No, that's a different one. This one
Okay.
is-
Yeah. Are we on mute? No.
Nope.
Yeah, for Bossum, Yeah, I mean, I feel like I had sort of a similar experience. And in several cases, what I was running up against was sort of a small, just a little, these are multi-step problems, and I would run up against a very hard, non-intuitive step in between the two. And I think the answer is sort of keep at it. That's where I went with it. And I revised problems. If I got to a solution that I didn't feel very certain about, I went back through my method and I looked at all my different steps and I really thought about what they meant and which pieces of information within the problem they were dealing with, and moved closer to an answer that way. And that just sort of working through that uncertainty and looking at my own methods very carefully brought me to a point where I think I still got wrong answers here and there, but it was just a valuable exercise.
Showing the videos, right?
Yeah, and additionally, we have been working on some videos of solutions to problems that have troubled a lot of the students in the class, and those will be online. Just yesterday, I walked through a couple problems from assignment 3. I know that people have been working on problems from everywhere from assignment 1 to assignment 10. So there will soon be much more targeted instruction for those assignments.
Okay. And we're probably gonna go look at that right now.
Yep. And I think Owen is taking us to go look at some of those videos right now. This is very exciting. I haven't seen the finished product yet.
So should I answer questions?
Yeah.
Or should I put the questions on top?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, and then slash.
remember?
Yep. So that, see that box in the upper,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and keep on talking to them because they.
Yep.
Hold on, so I'm gonna go back.
Okay. Let's see. Guess 7229. I think we'll get to those questions in just a second. I want to stay on a little bit more high-level conceptual stuff. Ramakrishna, I know what you mean. Why do we never really see in our timeline? We typically purchase an asset in year 0, and we don't see cash flows until year 1, and that's to put that sort of into words, especially in the Walmart problem where we don't see cash flows in year 0, is that you can think of it as the building or the asset not having come online yet. In year 1, in a way, sort of counting that the cash that came in between the beginning of year 0 and the beginning of year 1, to get cash flow in year 0 that's positive, it would imply that the asset was already in place, and that happens, I think, in other areas of finance, in valuation, and in some of the parts of this.
For example, the working capital.
Yeah.
Like you have to have the working capital before you actually start to invest in the asset, and then before the asset can actually generate cash flow, then the working capital has to be calculated. So that's but the cash flow is definitely going to happen in from the time 1 and onwards, not the time 0. I think, if that's what you're asking.
I'm quickly to show them here. So we're gonna go screen share, and you're gonna go down where it says video solutions
Yep.
and click on it. Okay.
Okay.
So you can start telling them about this is like the more detailed explanation part.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we've been working on some more detailed explanations of questions people commonly have, and I think we're going to do a screen share right now of one of those videos. Here we go. Should we do?
Just pick the first one. You're not out there, but I think this one's me.
Okay, this will be assignment 1, problem 9. Then.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, this is
So as you can see, that we'll be like kind of solving out the problem step by step for you. We can only do this after the assignments are in, because otherwise it'd be too easy. But this is the idea that if, to Basim's point, sometimes you're not quite sure why you got the right wrong answer, and so this way you can kind of see step by step how to do it.
yeah.
And we're back.
Great.
And if you want to solve any problem, you can also just do it in PowerPoint.
Okay.
Before, so one of any of these questions you want to tackle?
Yeah. So let's to guest 9635's question, if you buy an existing business, then it will be earning as you buy it. That's correct. But you have to, and while that business is ongoing and it doesn't need to be established, you're still going to think of that as incremental cash flows being added in on top of your existing business. And that's also an area where you're going to use year 1 to count the first period's cash flow into your enterprise. So although the business exists before you buy it, it's not yours. So you're not counting their cash flows. Yeah. You'll count them after you come into ownership of it.
I think one point worth mentioning is really when we do this calculation for NPV or for a project, we really consider the cash flow generated by this project. We don't really consider like existing assets. So the NPV, if we calculate that for one project, you should always consider just the cash flow from that asset.
And then I think we had a question quickly about the Alaska purchase question. I think we could work on that, right?
Yeah.
Let me just grab my computer because I keep my notes.
Which answer are we? Which one are we answering?
Alaska purchase.
Okay.
Give me a second to look over my method for this.
Yeah.
Sponsor.
Okay. So let's see how I did this.
Okay, are we answering Rama's question or not?
Is this Alaska?
No, depreciation.
Oh, depreciation.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go through Alaska. Okay.
Yeah.
Rama's question. So
We're live right now. Yeah. So
the question was whether to subtract the salvage value from the initial investment to calculate the depreciation.
yeah. All right.
I remember in the assignment, the salvage value sometimes.
Sometimes we don't have a
Yeah,
salvage
we-
value.
I think in the one of the questions they actually say, don't consider the salvage value.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
think
sure
I
whether
remember-
this is the case.
Right.
So
Can we ask
yeah,
Rama for more?
You can type in just do like a double dash arrow and say Rama. And there you go.
could you change the name? Maybe?
Yeah, let think that.
Okay.
Let me get this for a second. I'm just gonna give you the. I'm gonna add in time. So you can just chat in here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and you can just do this at Rama.
Okay.
Says,
And you can just
Yeah.
change. See it says admin. Just change it to your name. So instead of it's no one.
yeah.
Yeah, let's just use at. I don't know.
So assignment 4.
You guys.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to check my notes for the question
What was
9.
the question?
So the Walmart. The question was to whether the salvage value should be considered.
Oh, in calculating depreciation. So you know how you
There's a little bit.
Yeah.
What was his question?
the question was Rama's question about depreciation. Question 9 of assignment 4 was subtracting salvage value from depreciation, then doing straight line.
Yeah, that's how you do depreciation.
Yeah, I know. Hold on a second.
The assignment does this on the map.
Let's see. Depreciation 15.
Can you go back to the question text real quick?
Yeah. So there is no salvage value.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to explain, like, unless otherwise stated.
Yeah. Raman, to your question about Walmart, the way the question's laid out, there actually is.
Oh. 200 million, 100 million salvage value. We have a different.
Yeah, Rama, I think the value you're talking about, I have it labeled the after-tax terminal value. That's actually, terminal value is something different than salvage value. Salvage value is if they were to sell the store on the market, what the price it would fetch in the market after 10 years of use. That's sort of salvage value. Terminal value is actually it's a calculation of the sort of present values of all future cash flows from a certain point onwards, because going back to sort of the fundamentals of accounting, businesses are considered to be are thought to be sort of or assumed to be in operation forever. It's the going concern principle. We wouldn't want to do this valuation over an indefinite period of time. So we calculate a terminal value to sort of cap the project at 10 years. And typically, in a lot of examples, terminal value is calculated using the valuation of a perpetuity. But in this problem, it's just given to you as $75 million. That's again is not actually the salvage value. Sorry, I think in your problem it was $100 million. In my problem, it's $75 million. It's different everywhere. But this is actually not to be considered with in relation to the price of the investment. The price of the investment is just depreciated straight line over those 10 years. So I think for you, that would be $20 million a year in depreciation. And then the terminal value is treated differently. You actually discount that back to current year dollars in order to include it in your calculation of net present value.
I think in this question, we actually assume the salvage value is 0, right? So the initial investment is for you 200 million, and then you should just divide that number by how many years the equipment we can use. So then you get the depreciation for like each year. So like Chris already discussed, the terminal value is it's a different concept. So the salvage value is actually used to calculate the depreciation, but the terminal value is not. So I think that's where you get really a bit confused.
I think in the problems they'll state what the terminal value, what the salvage value would be.
Yeah.
So
salvage value will usually be said very explicitly.
Yeah.
It'll be called, I think, almost always salvage value.
Yeah.
Terminal value is an entirely different concept.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm looking for the Alaska problem, but I can't find it.
He needs to ask a more specific question about the Alaska ask.
Yeah, he just did.
Okay.
Or
You guys can say thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. We're gonna just mute ourselves for a second because there's no questions, but we'll talk to you in 1 second.
Bossum had a question about what if there were a salvage value that is not equal to 0? In that case, you would, in year 0, in the present, you would subtract the salvage value from the investment cost or the purchase price, and then you would divide the difference between the salvage value and the purchase price over the number of years that your project is going to take place over. Yeah. So do we want to maybe do it on the whiteboard behind us?
No, it's right here. That's just
Okay.
screen share.
So, say we had a.
Go ahead.
I don't want to confuse you guys too much, but if the Walmart example had said we had a, we acquired the building at 250 million, and we had a salvage value of 50 million, meaning in year 10, we would sell the store to whomever for $50 million. That, and this is a 10-year project. That would give us 250 minus 50 over 10, which equals 200 over 10. And that would mean you depreciate the project by $20 million each year. And in the case of the difference, the major difference here between terminal and salvage value is that salvage value tells you that the project's going to end with you selling the asset you're using to create those cash flows. And that affects your depreciation. Terminal value tells you that you're not going to sell this asset. You're going to consider it as part of your company for the remainder of time. And that you're going to need to sort of you're going to need to end the timeline in a different way than if you were going to sell it. And that's where you would use the evaluation of a perpetuity in year 10.
Just exit. Don't keep discard. And then just go back to here. Boom. Oh, and or even sharing.
We
didn't share.
Should we try it again?
Yeah, let's try it one more time.
Okay, we're going to try that again. I'm not sure it's shared with you guys, but let's pretend a different version. We're working on a different version of the Walmart example. Say we are buying the store, or our initial investment is 250 million. This could also be a machine in a factory that costs 250 million in year 0, and that we will sell at the end of this project for 50 million, for a $50 million salvage value. To figure out when you have a salvage value like this and you need to figure out the depreciation, you would just subtract, you would take the sticker price or the purchase price, the investment price of the asset, and subtract its salvage value and divide that by the life of the project. That would, in this case, give you 200 over 10, which means as you track the cash flows, you're going to write down $20 million in depreciation a year. And I think you guys heard the discussion of the difference between this and terminal value, so I won't go through that again, but it's just sort of a different, it's just a different way of looking at how you'll end a project. It's also worth noting that sometimes you won't have a salvage value. So if you think of just a different scenario where, you know, we've bought this store in New York City for $250 million, and we're going to sort of use it up to the point where we can't sell it at the end of 10 years. This doesn't really make as much sense talking about a retail store, but a piece of machinery, it's certainly possible that you might not be able to resell it. And at the end of that 10-year project, you'll have sort of exhausted the usable life of the machinery. In that case, you would just divide your initial investment by the timeline of the project, and that would give you, in this case, $25 million of depreciation a year.
Yes.
You have the answer there?
His question. This should be 145.
So that's how.
So he.
That's how you'd consider
he started to
depreciation with no salvage value.
1868, and then the year is 2012. So it's 144, but on the first year you already have the cash flow, so it's like 145 different cash flows. I think that's the issue.
Let's see.
So you discard it, and then we're gonna go to
The next, the Alaska question.
Yeah. So you have to hit share. And then go there.
Okay.
And then share. And then full screen. And then you can just write on it.
Yeah. Right. So now I'm going to start to discuss about guest 2365. Your question is that you had the number of period as 144 years to find the PV of the tax revenue in 1868, and then use the perpetuity formula to get the answer. But then you say your answer is wrong. From here, so I think the point is let me change to the question. So this is the Alaska question. From the question, we know that the United States bought Alaska in 1867. And then we are discussing, like, in 2012 what it will be for the NPV, right? And like you said, the first tax revenue started from 1868. And I assume you did the calculation like 2012 minus 1868. This is 144. Yeah, but the trick here is actually you actually have already the tax revenue on the first year, 1868. So there should be actually 145, so 145 times of the tax revenue. So just make it really simple. So let's say if you start from a timeline 0, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you do a calculation like this, 4 minus 1 equals 3. But from the timeline, you can actually see you have actually 4 cash flows. So it should be 4 minus 0 equals 4. So my guess would be that your mistake happened because of the one missing cash flow you didn't really consider. So that's why you had the wrong answer.
Are there more questions or not?
No.
I think we're gonna have to shut it down pretty soon.
Okay. They're not. Yeah, I think that's the last one.
One guy said 7, 8, 9.
That's fine. Okay. Awesome. So let's just sign off. So we can stop share. I think we should. Great. So this should be all right.
Yeah. Cool.
So that, I mean, thanks guys. Thanks for being patient with us. This was fun.
This is
we'll
awesome.
We'll be doing another one of these next Friday, and we'll try to be doing these about every week. So hopefully this is helpful, and tell your friends about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.